In this video, we're going to learn how to write a verbal expression. When converting a mathematical expression into words, the first thing to do is identify the operations. Look at the expression and determine whether it involves addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Next, recognize the numbers and variables. Identify constants, coefficients, and variables. Always follow the order of operations to ensure the expression makes sense mathematically. Use proper mathematical phrases. For example, common phrases for addition include sum of, increased by, and more than. For subtraction, we use difference of, decreased by, and less than. For multiplication, we use product of, times, and multiplied by. For division, we use quotient of and divided by. Now, let's start writing verbal expressions. Let's start by writing verbal expressions that involve subtraction. We'll go through some problems together. Then you can pause the video and practice on your own. After that, we'll go over the answers so you can check if you got the same verbal expressions. Here are some expressions we will convert into words. The first one is e minus 1. Since this is subtraction, we can express it as 1 subtracted from e. The next one is x cubed minus 13y. We can express this as the difference of x cubed and 13y. Now, for 2x squared minus 13, we can write it as 13 less than 2x squared. Lastly, for 10 minus x, we can express it as 10 decreased by a number. As you can see, we are using common terms to refer to subtraction, such as subtracted from, difference, less than, and decreased by. Now, you can pause the video and try these on your own. I'll just go over the verbal expressions now. 2 minus e. We can express this as a number subtracted from 2. Here e represents an unknown number. J cubed minus 14p. This can be written as the difference of j cubed and 14p. 3, x squared minus 3. We express this as 3 less than 3 x squared. X minus 9. This can be written as 9 subtracted from a number. Did you get these? Your wording doesn't have to be exactly the same, but the meaning should be correct. Now, let's move on to writing expressions that involve addition. The first expression is 71 plus 3x. We can word this as 71 increased by the product of 3 and x. Next, for 2y squared plus 4, we can say the sum of 2y squared and 4. For 3x plus 5, we would express this as 5 more than the product of 3 and x. Lastly, x plus 4 can be written as 4 more than a number. These are common ways to word expressions involving addition, increased by, sum of, and more than. Now, you can pause the video and try these by yourself. If this video is helping you understand how to write verbal expressions, let me know in the comments. And if you can, give it a like. Let's go over a few more examples. So, for 5 plus 2x, we can say 5 increased by the product of 2 and x. Next, for 5x squared plus 6, we would write it as the sum of 5x squared and 6. for 9x plus 8, we can express it as 8 more than a product of 9 and x. And finally, for 4 plus x, we can say 4 increased by a number. If your answers match or mean the same thing, you're on the right track. Now, let's move on to writing expressions that involve multiplication. The first expression is 10j. We can express this as the product of 10 and a number. Next, we have 1/3 b cubed. This can be written as the product of 1/3 and b cubed. For 7 times j, we can express it as the product of 7 and a number. Finally, for 2 times x plus 6, we can write it as twice the sum of a number and 6. These are all examples of using phrases like the product of and twice when writing multiplication expressions. All right, let's go over these one by one. The first expression is x cubed times y cubed. We can say the cube of x multiplied by the cube of y. Next, for 8 times n squared plus 1, we can express this as 8 times the sum of n squared and 1. For 8 to the 4th power, we would write it as 8 raised to the 4th power. Finally, for 3 times -9 plus 11, we can say the product of 3 and the sum of -9 and 11. Now, let's work with division and express these verbally. The first one is 12 divided by 2n. We can express this as the quotient of 12 and twice a number. Next, we have 6k cubed divided by 5. We can say the quotient of 6k cubed and 5. I like using the quotient of because it sounds more mathematical, and most of us are used to hearing divided by. So, let's keep practicing with the quotient of. Now, for b squared divided by 4, we can express this as the quotient of b squared and 4. And finally, for 18 divided by -6, we can say the quotient of 18 and -6. If your answers match or have the same meaning, you're on the right track. Let's keep going. Now, it's your turn. Pause the video and try these examples on your own. Once you're ready, let's go over the answers together. For 6 divided by 3x, we can express this as the quotient of 6 and 3 times a number. Next, for c cubed divided by 6, we can say the quotient of c cubed and 6. For n divided by 5, since we don't know what n is, we can simply write it as the quotient of a number and 5. And finally, for -3 divided by 2g, we can express this as the quotient of -3 and twice a number. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you, let me know in the comments. And remember, learn something new every day.